I'm here joined by special guest Greg Gabriel and my guy Walt from the Bear Review. What's up, guys? Day one, Bears free agency, and it's been heavy in the trenches, which is exactly what we all wanted and what we've preached for all off season. So I'm ready to go. How you feeling, Greg?
I think it's great. I think it's great. And the way I look at this is that, talking to people last week, the money that a lot of people thought the offensive linemen were going to get never matriculated, at least for most people. And I think what happened was that when the Bears went to the combine, they talked to the agents. The agents were pushing big numbers, and it's the big numbers that actually led them to do the trades instead of waiting until free agency. And it ended up probably working out a lot better for them.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, we're hit the trenches hard. Drew Dahlman was, I think, everybody's number one target heading into free agency. It was a no-brainer. It was one of those, don't overthink this one. He's the best center in free agency. We've had a hole at center since Olin Kreutz retired. And
yeah,
he's the best guy out there and got it done. This was huge to me. I'm still on cloud nine from that move. The Deo Ode I still can't say his name. Odangbo move is I'm still at like a C+ or a B with that one. I think
I like that one only, and it's not that I've done a lot of stuff on him. Is that I'm close with Ballard, and this is a guy he didn't want to lose. In fact, we were going back and forth yesterday, texting, and that name, and I had no idea the Bears were involved, and he just said that guy's going to be really good. He goes, but I don't think I can afford to keep him the money I'm hearing. He goes, but it's all in front of him. He's got so much talent.
He's just 25 years old. He
missed most of his rookie year. He tore his Achilles in the I think it was his Achilles, in the whole draft process leading up to the draft. Mm-hmm. So, nobody had a time on him and stuff. Even though he's a big guy, he's athletic as hell. So, I think
he has the length too. I mean,
he's got 35-inch arms. But I think Allen looks for these bigger guys like Cam Jordan, in New Orleans forever. And this is a big guy like Cam Jordan, like bigger and probably more athletic. Now, if he can turn out to be half the player, that'd be nice. But Grady Jarrett, I mean, I hear that name gets released this morning and you go, oh, that'd be interesting. I wonder if they're interested in that guy. And like 2 hours later, bingo.
It happened so quick. I mean, I thought when I first saw Grady Jarrett released, I tweeted out and said another defensive lineman on the market and tagged the Bears in it. But my second thought was, oh no, there's 2 hours until free agency. Are they trying to clear up money so they can re-sign Drew Dahlman? But it didn't happen. So to me, this is huge and better than I expected this day to turn out.
Well, nobody's going to ever admit it, but I think they had the Dahlman deal done. And, beforehand, there's just too many people that had them pointed going, in this direction. But, with Grady going back to Atlanta, they redid the tackle, Matthews. And then there was somebody else they redid this morning. And so it's like, and they were over the cap. They were like 7 million over, 8 million over. So I didn't think there was going to be any way they could come up with money to get him, but it's a good thing. So,
well, when they cut Grady Jarrett, though, I think the number I read, they saved something like 16 million.
Yeah, no, he's not making as much here as he was making in Atlanta, but I'll tell you, the guy is so freaking good. I don't care if he's 31 years old.
I've said it going into free agency, like the last couple of years, people were having a hard time switching the process because the last couple of years, signing a 30-year-old defensive tackle didn't make sense. And that's what I've been telling people. And so people are like, Ryan Poles doesn't like 30-plus-year-old linemen, but that's
Well,
not
he
the
doesn't like them unless they've been durable. And except for one injury,
yeah.
he's been real durable. And that one injury was a year ago. He had an ACL, but he came back from
he
it.
missed 8 games, but now he's also going to be 2 years removed from that and fully healthy.
Yeah.
So
he played every game this year, not even a year out of an ACL surgery. So I mean, but he's so damn explosive. He's only 6 feet tall, or 6 feet a half inch, but he's got long arms for a 6-foot guy. They're almost 33 inches. And he's got a quick first step and so explosive.
I love him, man. And I think he's a guy who's going to help our defensive line immediately.
Oh, God, yeah.
And getting him from Atlanta, probably the biggest coup. It's probably an even bigger deal than signing Drew Dahlman. I saw a couple tweets. I think Brett Coleman and a couple people were talking about the Bears are serious in the trenches now. A couple people have already labeled us top 5 offensive line. I'm not going that far. I will say this is on paper easy top 10 offensive line though.
They got to play together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just quickly to go over with Grady Jarrett there. The whole thing a lot of people were talking about when we released DeMarcus Walker was we lost a vocal leader in the locker room. And I feel they replaced it with Jarrett today. Because I know that's one of his things.
I'll argue one point with you. He was vocal, but was he a leader?
Mm-hmm.
You follow where I'm going on?
Lead on the field, yeah. He was a vocal guy for sure.
Very, very vocal guy, but was he a real leader? And I'll tell you what, between Grady Jarrett and Thuney, they got some big dogs now.
Captains, guys who have wore the captains on their chest.
They got some guys that are highly respected guys in their locker room.
That's another underrated point. I didn't even know this. Someone on Twitter said it, that Odeyingbo was also a captain for the Colts. I didn't realize that at 25 years old.
I didn't know that either, to tell you the truth.
And
but
he also
I know Chris really liked him, and I've known Chris now for 24 years, and I love him like a son. And if he says he didn't want to lose the guy, and the guy's got a lot of upside, then I'm going with it.
Yeah, I'm 100% for that. Chris Ballard is a guy I've respected well since back his time in Chicago, and he's a guy who always been very good at identifying draft prospects, especially defensive backs. He's a guy who can find defensive backs really late in the draft. So I've always been a Chris Ballard fan, and kind of you have to wonder why he couldn't get a deal done, but seeing how much money this guy got, I'm happy for him, and I think he's a good fit for the Bears. Does not stop us from drafting a defensive end. I think that's the number one thing that a lot of fans are misinterpreting here. I still think defensive end is a must with one of our first 3 picks.
And tackle. Because I'm not sure.
Wait.
Go ahead.
D-tackle?
Yeah.
I'll argue that one. Let me argue that one. Because to me, when I look at our D-tackle rotation now, I think it's going to play out like this. I think Grady Jarrett's the 3-tech. You move Gervon Dexter over to the 1-tech where he played at Florida. And then you have Gervon Dexter and Andrew Billings at the nose. And then you have Grady Jarrett with Zach Pickens learning behind him. And I'm not giving up on Zach Pickens yet. I think he still has some upside. And they placed the tender on Chris Williams. I think we might be okay at
I hear you. I just
now
think
also,
anchor.
But Odingbo can also he played inside a lot. So to me, the need is at edge. I think we can still use a tackle, but the need is at edge, and that's where I was going with that.
No, I don't disagree with that. I just I go back to we saw it on the field when Billings went out. They couldn't stop the run. The defensive line play really wore down, and actually it hurt the pass rush because you could take care of. Billings had a pretty good interior pass rush for a guy that's mostly a run stopper, because he could push the pocket. And it hurt Sweat when he went out. But now, you go back to Ben Johnson's introductory press conference, and he, one of the first things he said it was so noticeable when Billings wasn't in.
Did
he was preparing for the Bears, and right, that stayed with me. So I'm just thinking, he's looking for another anchor guy. And actually, Grady Jarrett isn't an anchor. He's what's the word I want?
Disruptor.
Disruptor.
But for a guy that's known as someone who's a pass rusher and an interior guy like that, he is still incredible against the run
No
and gets
question.
double teamed on tape an insane amount, especially on that Falcons defensive line. And on the Bears D line, you're not going to be able to do that to him all the time. Someone in chat said we need a nose tackle. I'm not trying to get too off. I don't agree with that. I think people are misunderstanding. This is what I think happened, right? Gervon Dexter is a nose tackle. I think that's what he played in college. I think that's his best position.
He played in a 2-gap scheme in college.
But he was the one tech. And his anchor is incredible. He took on triple teams at times, and he was able to anchor through it. So I think he can play that nose. Last year,
I wouldn't argue that. He gets tall,
and we know Billings is good.
Yeah, and and Billings is probably best when he's playing half the snaps. I mean, right now there's a 3-man rotation that you can count on. It's who's going to be 4, and I think they're still looking for another big guy, but they may say, we're good. And we'll find that out in the draft. I mean, if they draft an anchor.
Well, one of my favorite players, I really like Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. I think we talked a little bit about him.
Yeah, he's a good football player.
I think he'd be awesome. And even with Grady Jarrett, I still wouldn't be too against that.
I had Lance Zierlein on this afternoon. Mm-hmm. So we talked a little bit about Grant, and he talked to some people at Michigan.
He said he liked Grant more than he did.
He said he's got more upside than
Mason Graham, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Michigan people say that, but he said the Michigan people also say that Grant doesn't know how good he can be. It's like it hasn't caught up to the mind yet. And he's a 3-year guy in college, which is, totally conceivable. So then when you hear a situation like that, the interviews are really important because you want to find out what's going on in the guy's head.
100%. And this is one of the most intriguing things that I've thought of now. In today's market, the biggest surprise to me was the Steelers left tackle, and you don't have to know much about him, but Dan Moore. He got 4 years, 85 million or 82 million from. Listen, I did watch tape on this guy because when I was evaluating left tackle prospects, he was, after you got past Alaric Jackson and Ronnie Stanley, he was the next guy on the list. And I went and watched Steelers tape, and the guy he's worse than Braxton Jones by a landslide. Braxton Jones,
I don't know the guy, so I can't say anything.
Yeah, but it's not hard to say, anyone who knows O-line, to say Braxton Jones is better than that guy. So that scares me because with him getting that much money in free agency, this made me think, okay, the Bears need to plan for left tackle now, because even if Braxton Jones has a good season this year, I don't want to give him 20+ million next year.
No, I keep saying it because I know what they're thinking in Alice Hall. It's Amagodge.
Yeah, Amagodge.
They're going to let that play out, and if he can't do it, then they'll take care of it next year.
Yeah, and that's one of my points I've made. I think it plays out well for Ryan Poles that way as well, because when I look at the 2026 draft, right now you're looking at the top 25, and there's like 7 tackles in there. So it's a really good class for tackles. Of course, it's early, and we know boards are going to move. It's not going to look anything like that. But the early projection is looking like a really good year for offensive tackles next season. So it could play into what we're looking for, as well as Kiran Amagodge. He's like a stronger Braxton Jones anyway. So I do think there's a lot of upside there. But do you think left tackle would be in play if they think someone at pick 10 can play the position?
Well, I'll give you my opinion. I can't speak for them. I don't know what they think. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a left tackle worth a shit in this draft, because I think Campbell is a guard. And, Simmons is good, but he's another short arm guy. He's got 33 even, or 30. And I know Poles loves length, but I love length too. So I was brought up with that. So, and he's coming off a really serious injury. Now, yeah, the agent says he's going to be good to go. Okay, fine. Every agent says that. And the kid says that. It's what do the doctors say? I've sat in a room where we've had big grades on guys. And then we go into our medical meeting after the combine. And then after the rechecks in April with the doctors, and the doctors red flag the hell out of some of these guys, for various reasons. So, and until I know, or we know that the doctors have said he's good to go, to me, he's not even in the equation. Because a torn patella tendon is a serious injury. It's the biggest freaking tendon in your body.
Oh, that sounds painful, man. I don't want to deal with something like that. But so the guy in Kelvin Banks, it looks like most people don't regard him as a top 10 pick. No. I did like his Texas tape, but it's just not consistent. I would say
I don't think he played good, but not. And granted, he was hurt. But when you look like in the playoff games and stuff, in one game he got beat like 3 times.
Yeah, that's why he's got times where he looks like a top 10 pick. Other times he looks like a 3rd rounder.
Another guy who's a guard. And somebody brought up to me today, well, what about Connerly? And I think he's a guard too. Can you use him at tackle? Yes. But I think he might be best off or best served at guard.
Connerly's one. I have questions about him, but I like his tape. And I think he has the length.
I look at his body, and his body. That's tackles that are more linear and line, and he's got like just a guard body, kind of a bulky type. And it's just the way I look at him. But hey, some team may take him. I mean, he's big enough to play left tackle. He's 6'4.5", 6'4.25". He's got 34-inch arms. From that standpoint, he's fine. Just to me, looks more like a guard, but he'll probably end up being a Pro Bowl left tackle.
Pro Bowl left tackle. The guy I do like the Ariante Irsay from Minnesota. That guy, if he's there in round 2, I wouldn't mind bringing him in as another guy.
I don't like him. I'd fight that one.
Ooh, okay. You don't like him. Okay.
No, I'll tell you why. Because to me, he's a straight-legged player. I did him, probably back in October for one of the agents. And part of it's just my own bias. When I see straight-legged players, I kill them.
Oof.
And that's what I thought, and I just don't like them. And I don't think they can anchor well at the NFL level. Now, he worked out better than I thought he would based on that. But can he play left tackle in the NFL? I think he's a right tackle, but not. And there's right tackles like him. You get look at that big guy from Wisconsin that's been playing for the Rams for the last century.
Oh, Ramczyk?
No, for the Rams.
Hart's. I don't know how to say his name. I know who you're saying.
Yeah, well, he's about 6'7", and another straight-legged guy, kind of stiff. Good. But he can play that position really good.
Yeah. And someone asked, can Amagodge develop? I think too many people we've talked about this before, but
they write him off because he didn't have a good rookie year and he had no camp.
He had not only did he didn't play football for a whole year.
Right.
Basically, he missed all of mini camps, all of training camp,
right,
all of preseason, all of practice for like the first 6 to 8 weeks. And he was out at least 6 weeks because he was on the pup.
He missed all of camp, and then the first 2 weeks. It was after the
2 weeks, okay. And then he started practicing. But he
started practicing.
But he wasn't really getting much development in practice, and that's what people don't understand.
No, once the season starts, you're not working on anything. You need that time when you're working on fundamentals, and you need the live one-on-ones, and you don't get that.
So right now he's at 0% development. So Kiran Amagodge, we haven't even seen what he's actually capable of yet. And Trev, someone in the chat had a great point. He said he threw him into the fire, and what we've seen was not a fair assessment of his potential. Yeah, 100%.
But I know what the talent is. And the talent, I think we talked about it the one time I was on there. And, to some people, I'm probably committing a mortal sin or something. I compare him to the big guy at Philly.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and the reason being, now that guy never played football.
No,
First time he played football was
yeah.
when he suited up for the Eagles. He was a rugby player, and Philly sat him for 2 years to learn how to play the game. But the athletic traits, and that's what people don't understand that about Amagodge. His athleticism for a guy that big is rare.
And he's also I think Braxton is just as athletic, but he doesn't have the power.
That's why I think Amagodge bends better. That's one of the things I like.
And he has more power. But I think left tackle is something we're going to be debating a lot. But today was a huge day for the Chicago Bears getting back to the trenches. And that's what this offseason is all about. And I think today today paired with the trades of Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson, they've completely transformed the trenches. I think, is there a move today that was your favorite of the three moves?
Well,
He's smiling.
I really like O'Day. I mean, he's going to be the least. Dahlman's going to be the guy that sets the tone. You know, I listen to Olin too much, and I have for years. But to me, it's the most important position on the line. Even though the left tackle protects the quarterback, the center is the glue of the offensive line. He keeps everything together. And so you got a guy who's played a lot of football. He's smart. He's athletic. He's strong. Still needs to get better as a pass blocker, but he's a A+ run blocker. And as compared to what they've had, he's head and shoulders above everybody.
Yep. I do like him. Saints just re-signed Chase Young. That is official. And, hey, look at this. Larry Borum to the Dolphins. I didn't expect Larry Borum was not a name.
I expected to go there.
I did not expect him to sign on day one of free agency.
I expected Tevin Jenkins to go to Miami, not Borum.
Maybe they signed Borum to try to get Tevin there as well.
I don't know.
Hopefully they didn't give him big money. Oh, man. Hey, good luck, Larry Borum. It's nice weather down there in Miami, at least, so he'll enjoy that.
At least we're finally
ready. Who else that the edge player that we picked up from Seattle, he signed with somebody late this afternoon.
Darrell Taylor, yeah. He signed a 1-year deal.
Yeah, but he got $5.5 million.
Yeah. I think he's worth it. I mean, he's a good situational edge rusher.
Yeah.
But we needed to upgrade, to be honest. Ooh.
And they had the types they had for the most part, except for Sweat, were what Flus likes. And that's not what Allen likes. And I think there's one other thing about Grady Jarrett I want to hit on, because it hit me right after they signed him. Dennis Allen had to play that sumbitch twice a year for the last how many years? I mean, he was between coordinator and head coach. If anybody knows how good that guy is, it's him.
And to me, I think Grady Jarrett's one of the most underrated defensive tackles in all football. I did not see that guy. I was surprised when Jonathan Allen got cut.
See, that's the guy I wanted, but at that time, Grady Jarrett wasn't available.
Yep. But then when I saw Grady Jarrett get cut this morning, I was, holy cow! How much did Chase Young get? 3 years, $51 million, worth up to $57.
That's great. That's crazy.
Ooh. Worth up to $19 million a year.
Watch him say Borum got $8 million a year or something.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna fall out of my chair if Borum gets $8 million a year, bro.
I'm just throwing some numbers out just to have fun.
I will fall out of my chair though. I can't. Oh, they got James Daniels. Oh, they're loading up on former Bears.
Who else got James? Miami?
Yeah, they signed James Daniels and Larry Borum.
And Tevin's looking for James Daniels got hurt. So looks like they're changing their offense a little bit, because they're getting, between Daniels and Bourne, they're getting 2 non-athletes.
Yeah.
And he was an outside zone scheme, and so he must be going away from that outside zone.
That's wild. Down to Miami. They might just be going for the money, the no income tax on that. That could happen. That's wild.
In the pocket.
James, they're loading up on former Bears. But to me, my favorite signing of the day, as much as I love Drew Dahlman, and I think that was the no-brainer, I think Grady Jarrett is just so perfect. I think he's a guy who's going to be a fan favorite in Chicago. And this is a city that loves defensive tackles that can disrupt the pocket. You guys remember how much we loved Akeem Hicks. We loved Tommy Harris when he was here. I think Grady Jarrett's a guy who's going to really help the interior of this defensive line and be a leader on the defense as well.
Well, that's the important thing. That you can't put too much or I can't even come up with the right way of saying that. Just the importance that is to a football. And you got to have them on both sides of the ball. You got to have an alpha on each side of the ball.
And as much as I love Montez Sweat, I've never seen Montez as that guy. He's a really great player. He's a guy who could be a force multiplier, but he's not a team leader like Grady Jarrett is. I don't see that in Montez Sweat. I see him as a freak athlete.
Swifty. It's an innate trait. Like say, Thuney's got it. Everybody's been around him says the same thing. I've been around some really good ones between the Giants and the Bears. I mean, God, the teams we had 20 years ago, the leadership in that locker room was just crazy. How many good leaders there were. So that's what this team doesn't have yet. I think they got a chance. Like some of that stuff, and we've talked about this before. All these guys doing their different podcasts, and you got 10 guys on a leadership council, and you got 1 million cats. That's ridiculous. That means you got none.
Yep. I mean, that's what our head coaching search was when we ended up hiring Eberflus. They had a council of people doing the hiring. Remember?
Yeah, but it was led by
Bill
Polian.
Yeah, I like Polian, but
I like Bill too, but he didn't do a very good job on that one.
I thought it was dumb the whole time, and that's one of the biggest things they criticize Ryan Poles for is hiring Matt Eberflus. And it's like, look, they had already narrowed it down to a list of 3 finalists before Poles was hired. So
Eberflus was hired less than 48 hours.
Exactly.
After Poles was hired. So he was saying this is the best guy. Okay. What's he going to do? Argue with a Hall of Fame GM?
Yeah, exactly. This is the question here. Are the Bears winners now? And I've thought all along with the move to trade for Joe Thuney, this is time. The rebuild is over, and we're all in now. It's time. The window to win is now. We have 4 years on Caleb's rookie deal. And yeah, it's time. This team has expectations to now win. Unlike in previous years where some fans might be crazy and think we're going to win, now we actually have expectations to be a winner. I fully agree.
Need a couple more. I think not. We're going to get.
We have all the tools to get. We haven't even hit the draft yet. And we have 3.
Yeah, I know. I think they need 2. I mean, I think they need 2 receivers. They need 1 more running back, and some more defensive linemen. But yeah, the important parts they already got.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, guys, I think if you don't win, there are no excuses anymore. Can't blame your coach. You got the coach. You can't blame. You don't have a franchise quarterback. You have a franchise quarterback now.
Well, the only thing I'd argue on that is that he's still a rookie coach who's never been a head coach. So he's got to go through his own little growing phase. But what he has done since day one of putting his staff together, and it's been terrific. So, I mean, all signs point that he's going to be excellent, but he's still got to actually do it. And, that's the same with any new coach, but still,
let me rephrase.
I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I'll rephrase then. I'm not expecting a bottom tier finish.
No,
this season.
Hey, I look at it this way: if Washington was worse off than the Bears are,
Yes, sir.
And look what they did.
Yeah.
No. Walt, do you have a favorite move from today?
You know, I didn't really like the Deo move to start. I know I told you that in private there for a little bit, but the more I watched his film, I was gathering some clips. I actually really liked him. He's got a lot of moves. He's got a really good swim and a really good spin. And I don't know, I'm just a big fan of those guys that can just, twirl like Dan Feeney there. So
the big spin moves. I definitely
Yeah.
saw a spin move you posted of him on Twitter. He's definitely got a killer spin move. My guy Emiliano sent in a super chat and asked, with all the moves, do you guys think the Bears target that third slot guy in round 2 of the draft or even round 3? And also, is Ashton Jeanty at 10 very possible now? I think I'll go first there. I do think a wide receiver, we need a slot receiver, but it depends on if we sign one in free agency. Right now, I'd say the prices are kind of crazy. Darius Slayton got over $10 million a year. Who's the other guy? Tutu Atwell got over $10 million a year. But if we could get a guy like Josh Reynolds or Tim Patrick that have worked with Ben Johnson before in Detroit, I do think we definitely need a receiver.
Well,
Maybe
both of those guys are pure X's.
well,
See, what I've thought all along,
Reynolds has been in the slot a lot.
yeah, Reynolds. I'm think the way I look at this is that if they get a big guy like go out and sign one of those guys, and those guys aren't going to be expensive. They're going to be dirt cheap. So I can see Johnson playing games, and you'll see different guys in the slot. You'll see DJ in the slot. You'll see the other guys in the slot just switching back and forth. Odunze, looking for mismatches, especially if you got like a smaller slot corner, and then you put a big guy in the slot. That works a lot. And then the guy they I don't know how many guys they interview wide receiver wise at the combine, but one that jumped out was Williams from Washington State.
Oh, that Kyle Williams, the one he was at UNLV last year, I think, and he transferred to Washington State.
Really good receiver.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, love him. Kyle Williams. He's talking about Kyle Williams. Really.
Yeah,
good
but you got to get him in the 3rd round.
I like Restrepo too, the kid from Miami. He's a really good slot receiver, in my opinion.
I don't know him that well, so I can't.
I was a big Cam Ward
as
fan.
Good as I want.
I liked Cam Ward, so I watched those Miami games, and the two guys that consistently came through as playmakers on that offense, Damian Martinez when they needed a big run, but Xavier Restrepo was a guy, very dependable 3rd down receiver, knows how to get open, works out the slot, has pretty good size, and he's very quick. So I like Restrepo.
Yeah, I got to do more work on him because I haven't done. I know he catches the ball real good and he's a good route runner. There's a guy and Zerline brought him up, and I had done him for some agents, and he's not a fast guy. He's a 4.52, 4.53 guy. Is Nash from San Jose State?
Okay, yeah, I saw that him.
Guy is a hell of a route runner and has glue hands. And he's only played receiver 2 years. He was a quarterback.
Oh, okay. I like the Jack Beck from TCU, the guy who was the Senior Bowl player of the week.
They're similar type guys.
Yeah. So wide receiver is definitely a need. I know other people were talking about safety. Do you see us drafting a safety this year?
From what I understand, Brisker's supposed to be fine, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be. He's going to get donked on his head again and have another concussion. So it wouldn't shock me that they get somebody, whether it's a vet. And right now, the safeties today have gotten a ton of money.
But the market from last year's market was really safety friendly because a lot of people cut safeties. So we'll see how it plays out.
Right.
But I do. But here's the thing with Kevin Byard. He's on the final year of his contract. If they do see someone in free agency that they can sign, they could always move on from Byard. But Byard is kind of he's also a leader type on the defense, a veteran who I think he's a good player. So
I honestly believe that like guys like him, we don't know how good they are because I think these guys just went into pause last year.
Mm-hmm. Well, we still have Jonathan Owens for one more year as well. I think he's a
Right.
good backup safety.
Yep.
People
No,
forget about.
he's a solid backup, and so was the Hicks.
Yeah, Elijah Hicks as well. Did Hicks get re-signed though? Because this would be his 4th year. I was thinking
No,
Elijah.
I think this is his 4th year.
Okay.
I don't think he's a.
Oh yeah, he's in the final year of his contract. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We do still have Hicks for a year. I was worried about Hicks for a second. I was like, wait a minute.
No, there's nobody in free agency that they were scared of losing. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Darrell Taylor was the only guy I thought we might potentially bring back. I thought Darrell Taylor did have some juice as a pass rusher.
Yeah, I just don't think he's what Allen wants.
Yeah, true. And I'm liking what Dennis Allen likes because he got his Grady Jarrett. I have to give him some of the credit for the Grady Jarrett signing. This was, I'm still over the moon by that.
Somebody jumped on the table real quick. When you look at that he was released at like 9 o'clock this morning or something.
It was like 10. It was
9. That's 9 o'clock. You said 10.
Yeah,
I see 9.
Right,
We're
right,
different
right.
Yeah. So and he's by noon he's a Bear.
It was so fast, man. And it was that I actually thought I was getting trolled. Because I had went live for the Ode Ingbo signing. And it was like 10 minutes after that. I was talking about Ode Ingbo, and a bunch of people in the chat were like, we signed Grady Jarrett. And I went to Twitter, and I didn't see it from Schefter yet. And I was like, you guys are messing with me. And then I saw it from Schefter, and I was like, oh my God, it's real? We got Grady Jarrett? Oh, no,
it was.
So
remember when they were in a Super Bowl?
The Falcons, yeah.
Yeah, he had some big plays in that game.
Oh man!
And he was like a first or second year player.
We got to go back and watch that one.
Yeah, so I'm just reading the chat here. I see Nathan Campbell was talking about possible linebackers, and I wanted to pose the question: have you guys done any work on Jihad Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama?
He's special, man.
Some people think he could be an edge. Yeah, I just don't. Linebackers, while it's an important position, as far as value of position in the draft, it's not, unless you're really special, it's not as important. Now, a guy like Campbell's going to go high. I can't see the Bears doing that. I mean, he's not a top 10 guy. I know what I honestly feel the way this thing is, and more I talk to people about the draft and how everybody says it's the same thing. The guy you're going to take at 10 is the same guy you're going to get at 20 or 22 as far as the level of talent. So to me, this is a trade down draft. If somebody's in love with somebody and they want to move up, move down.
But the problem is when everybody sees that it's a draft where it's going to be the same quality of guys, it's going to take, you obviously have to find a team that is willing to trade up.
Well, there's got to be a player somebody wants. Then you're trying to get, because everybody looks at the board. Everybody's board is going to be different. So there could be a team that said, that's the guy I got, and I'm afraid I'm not going to get him if I got to stay here. And then they'll call and try to pull the trigger. And if it's me, I'm doing it.
That's the guy. If Shedeur Sanders was still on the board, maybe someone would want to trade up.
Somebody can take his ass because he can't. He's Mike Mamula. That's what he is.
Take him. Take Shedeur. Give us some picks for him too while you're at it. Hey, I will say this:
4.5 sacks in 3 years. Come on.
If you asked me, not Shamar Stewart, the quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. The quarterback from Colorado. Yeah. But we can hate on him too.
I think both those guys are going to go in the top 10. I really do.
Yeah. If someone wants to trade up for Shamar Stewart, though, too, I did want to quickly touch on Jihad Campbell, because I would say this: if you asked me 24 hours ago, I would say 0 chance we took a linebacker in the top 10. Right? I would say right now we're free to do anything. So if Dennis Allen goes to Ryan Poles, because I have read Dane Brugler, a couple of these guys, I think Daniel Jeremiah too. They have him rated as a special linebacker. We've seen Detroit do it with Jack Campbell a couple years ago. This is a guy who's probably more special than that. A guy who could be a linebacker on first and second down, and then come in and rush the quarterback on third down. If Dennis Allen truly thinks he's a chess piece for this defense, I wouldn't rule him out for the Bears.
That's a fair point.
I'm not. He's not likely or anything. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, we're taking Jahad Campbell."
I know exactly what you're saying, and it's a valid point.
But we're open to do that now. And I'd say the same thing if Ben Johnson goes to Ryan Poles and says, "Look, I love Cole Kmet, but you give me Cole Kmet and Tyler Warren, and we're going to have the best 12 personnel in football." And then, hey, I can't rule out Tyler Warren either. And that's where I think.
But how about this? He doesn't use 12 personnel very often.
Ooh.
He had the other tight end, and they traded him to Minnesota.
No, they had that. What was their backup tight end name? It was just a blocker. That's
I know that, but they had the one guy. He was like a first or second round pick.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Report. Oh yeah.
And they traded him. Yeah. When they got the guy they have now, they traded him, and I'm tired now, and I'm not remembering names.
It was TJ Hawkinson, and they got Laporta now. Yeah.
Yeah, they traded him because he doesn't play a lot of 12.
Well, true. Well, also Hawkinson and Laporta are both receiving tight ends, though. They don't really have a big blocker in that group. Neither one. Laporta can block, but he's more of a receiving tight end, if you ask me.
Well, the guy they got, Smythe, is a blocker.
Yeah, and Smythe's the blocker. That's why I wouldn't rule it out, though. And that's what I said. And I also, look, if we could trade down, I wouldn't rule out this guy either. That safety from South Carolina, Nick Imanowori. That guy's special, man.
Yeah, those are all valid points.
And I think
they're going to go big guy.
Yeah, I think we got to go trenches. But that's what I'm just saying. At this point, we have so much flexibility in the draft due to these signings and free agency. I think we're open now. I wouldn't go wide receiver in first round, though.
I thought they were going to go 2 offense, 2 defense in free agency as far as trenches, and they went 3 offense. So that, to me, took a high draft pick out. I still think they'll draft one fairly high to get them in the system, and it helps with the cap, but I think it takes it out of the first round.
Yep.
Well, I will say this to you guys real quick. I'm not going to sleep on Shamar Stewart. I know, Greg, it sounds like you don't like his tape, but he's a big guy. He's strong. And you got to remember, too, Dennis Allen likes to play sometimes up to 4 defensive ends on his line. He'll replace both his defensive tackles with that, too.
No, so, I get it, but I'm a big production guy. And here's a guy that might be the best defensive athlete in the draft. Just pure athleticism. He's got no production. Ooh. And that is like
he only started 7 games.
If you drafted a pass rusher who can't rush the passer, what do you got?
No, he only started rush the passer. I think it's more that his design in the scheme wasn't to rush the passer a lot.
That part I disagree, but you know. Yeah. But I mean, don't forget he was only in this scheme with Elko for 1 year this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in a different scheme the last 2 years. He never had more than 1.5 sacks in any given year. He had 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 3 years.
3 years in a row. He did only start 7 games. He was more of a situational pass rusher.
Yeah. So to me, that says there's something missing when you got an athlete like that.
You see, that really doesn't. Sorry to interrupt. It doesn't really bother me, the 1.5 sacks a year. I mean, you're looking at a guy that played roughly around 290 pounds. He slimmed down about 23 pounds going into the combine. So that's going to give him a lot more bend, a lot more speed. We saw him shave off a bit of his 40 time against James Pierce there. He ran the second highest.
But so who that guy is? The big athletic edge. They just signed him today.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. He plays into that same archetype. Yeah. So you're going to have a guy like Dale. You're going to have Sweat. You can have.
I'll put it this way: if I still had the job I had, and he was there, I wouldn't even think about him.
Oof. Who would you take in the first round?
Well, I mean, the board's not set.
Well,
because-
let's say the normal guys are off the board. Like, there's no Will Campbell. There's no.
Well,
there's
I've heard too much.
quarterbacks
I'd have to do research on Pierce because I'm just getting a lot of negative stuff, and but it's a defensive lineman, and there has to be some give and take with defensive linemen. So it's what are the negatives? Can you live with the negatives? Can you overcome the negatives? Tag Johnson, we took him in the second round. We knew what we discussed it for like 2 days before the draft. We spent hours talking about him, and we had done a lot of work, and we said, okay, we think we can handle it. And so we did it, and we felt we had the locker room to handle it. And that was important. And for the most part, it was okay. He had a couple lapses.
couple guns.
The guy's really a good guy. I mean,
I love Tank, man.
Okay. I mean, really a good guy. But then there's other guys like Carter. I wouldn't touch Carter. And
Jalen Carter,
especially now if we had the locker room like we had 20 years ago, I'd take Jalen Carter.
Oh yeah,
that's never sure because
get him in there with Olin Kreutz.
Yeah, because Kreutz would kill him, and it would be it's real simple. So it would. That's part of what the equation is. So you hear a lot of negative things about Pierce, but what are they? And can you live with them? And he's not a criminal. Yeah. I think I told you the last show we did with the one guy said, he's like a wild horse who won't be broke. Refuses to be broke.
I watched a couple of 20-minute combine interviews with him, and just from what I've seen of his personality, I really like him. I think he's a personable guy that seems like he really loves football. I did hear, I think it was Lance Zerloin earlier talking to you. He said the similar things about Walter Nolan, did he not? I think he said
likes Nolan. He's got Nolan.
He's got him really high. But
Nolan is the things I hear on Nolan. He's kind of loner.
Okay. I like
quiet,
Walter Nolan.
Put it this way: it's not a defensive lineman personality.
49ers released Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback. You think he'd be the Bears would be interested? Ben Johnson did use a fullback in Detroit.
If Ben used a fullback, they could be. Hey,
that's interesting.
This is Chicago. Anytime anybody gets cut, well, we got to go get them.
We know how it is. It worked out with Grady Jarrett today, though, baby. Yeah. That one worked. Oh man.
But anyway, I if Pierce checked out, I'm good with Pierce. The guy I think is really intriguing is Mykel Williams.
Yeah. I'm between him
all
and
year. Played
him and Jalen Walker.
Freaking year.
When I watch Georgia, it's tough because you have Mykel Williams who has the size to be a prototypical edge, the size and athleticism, and then you have Jalen Walker who's undersized and is making every play on tape, and it's like, and they're both top 10 talents. So it's like,
right. The thing that bothers me about, and I was with you until he weighed and measured. And then he was 6'1" and 240 pounds. And I said, oh, shit.
I know. He's the toughest guy.
I was hoping 6'2.5", 248 or something like that, and it was 6'1", and he's got shorter arms. And I'm thinking, he's a linebacker. Yeah. And, that you're going to, almost like a rover. And so is that what Dennis Allen wants?
And that's going to be curious because I think there's so many options here.
And then there's a couple tackles that I like too.
A couple. Wait, in the draft,
defensive tackles.
Defensive tackles.
Yeah,
I think Kenneth Grant. If Kenneth Grant is the first,
Grant is a trade back guy, but you trade back to 18 or 20, shit.
Then I think he could go high. I think he's potentially go like 13 to 18. I think he could. Ooh, I think possible. He could.
But anyway, I got to run.
Yeah. Oh, Greg, go ahead, get out here. Hey, Greg, tell everyone in the chat where they can find you on X, and appreciate having you on, man. You're a legend. We love you, Greg.
And we're coming. We're back Friday, right?
Yeah, we join Friday. Yes, sir.
Well, good seeing you, man.
Good seeing you, Greg. I'm gonna
See you too, Greg.
stay
Take it
live
easy.
for a little bit. Always a pleasure, my man.
Okay, later.
All right, see you, Greg. I'll get him out of there.
Oh,
That
wow.
was Greg Gabriel, guys. Got to give Greg Gabriel some love. Potentially have another guest or two joining. We're going to be live for a little bit longer, maybe another 30 minutes or so. Walt, did you finish your favorite free agent signing of the day, or were you still? Was it Deo, or did you get cut
Yeah,
off?
no. I went with Deo there. I mean,
Okay.
Jarrett was definitely on my list too. I think he was the most surprising
Mm.
because
That one-
I saw what you saw this morning too. It came up that he was released, and I was like, well, maybe the Bears could go after him. And then lo and behold, here he sits.
That was my first thought. I'm trying to scroll back up through the chat because I missed so many questions when Greg was in here.
Yeah, I just wanted to let Greg do his thing.
I definitely saw some people asking about running back. Definitely not interested in a free agent running back. Najee Harris to the Chargers. I think if we're going to get a running back, we do it in the draft. This year is just too special. I'm not paying money for a running back. Do you feel the same way, Walt, or is there a running back out there?
I'm actually even in the camp that I wouldn't worry about a running back, period, draft or free agency. I'm willing to sit on another year of DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson.
See, I got to go against you on that. It's just too special of a year at running back that, look, even if you don't want to take one early, in the 5th round or even the 7th round, you could probably get Ollie Gordon in the 7th round. Give me Ollie Gordon at bare minimum.
Possibly. I mean, like I said, if there's no other choice when you're picking and you're just like, I can't trade it, I have to use it, then okay, I would be for it. I'm not going to say no. But, you know, there's a couple of decent guys coming out next year. You're going to have the Penn State running back coming out again. I know
both
he went
Penn
back for
State
another
running
year.
backs, yeah.
Both Penn State running backs
and Katron Allen, yeah.
So it's not like there's not going to be options.
But it's not like it is this year. If we spend this is how I feel, right? If we spend a 2nd round pick on a running back, we're getting a 1st round talent. If we spend a 3rd round pick on a running back, we're most likely getting a 2nd round talent. If we spend a 5th round pick on a running back, we could potentially get a 3rd round talent. That's how good of this year's class is. So I think every time we're on the board, right? And starting at pick 10, we're on the board. I'm sorry, but if Ashton Jeanty's there, he's the best player on the board unless Mason Graham or Abdul Carter fall. Now, I'm not saying we take Ashton Jeanty, but when you go through the draft and look, 1st round, best player is a running back. You get to the 2nd round, and best player on your board could end up being a running back like Quinshawn Judkins or someone. You get to the 3rd round, and Caleb Johnson's the best player on the board. So at some point, you have to say, I got to take the best player on my board that's a running back. You can't pass every one all draft.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like if you get there and let's say Ashton Jeanty is the best player on the board and he's top of your list somewhere, go for it. Right. But I'm not going to go out of my way. So if I have other options that I think are maybe a little higher, I'm going to prioritize them over running back. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so special. It's such a special year for running backs that at some point you can just grab one and you're going to really improve your running game. A great point by Cocaine Bear. Okay, Cocaine Bear out here. What's going on with that? 42 catches. There's a lot of Swift hate in the chat. Look, nobody likes DeAndre Swift. I get it. But he did have 42 catches this year. Let's not forget about that. He did add something to the offense as a pass catcher and a check down weapon for Caleb Williams. So I wanted to mention that. Definitely wanted to mention it. Look, I like DeAndre Swift, but the other point here, we have Roschon Johnson. We're going to have Roschon for 2 more years, but this could be Swift's last season. If not, the next year is. So to me, it's just a perfect year to get a running back. I don't want to talk too much about running back, but it is a perfect year to nab one, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll leave it at this. Don't forget, you have Ian Wheeler still waiting in the wings, too. You don't know what you have there with him.
I do like Ian Wheeler. I do like me some Ian Wheeler, but most guys, especially speed guys, one thing I worry about a guy coming back from a torn ACL, it might take him a full year before he's back to 100%, but we'll see. Dan Skipper back to the Lions. Oof. Dan Skipper. Hopefully he reported this time. That's a good joke if Lions fans are here. If Jenny hits Barry Sanders' ceiling, we'd regret not taking him. He's the same height as Barry, but I think he's like 18 pounds heavier than Barry, isn't he? It's wild. Poles is absolutely killing it. Woo. I'm agreeing with it.
mean, the thing with Jeanty is just a special talent. You know, there's like a one of a kind almost. There's guys that are close, like Amari and Hampton is close.
I like Quinshawn Judkins a lot. I like Caleb
Yeah.
Johnson a lot. But the thing is, to me, like, there's been a lot of talk. It seems like, look, I get it. A lot of people don't want to take a running back in the first round. And I've been like that my whole life. I've talked about that a lot. I'm not a running back in the first round guy. But when you've filled every need on your team and you don't have any holes on the roster, really, and you're going into the draft where you can take best player available, and it's a draft where, like they said, right, you can get the similar player at pick 10 that you're going to get at pick 40. So it's not a big difference in player, but there's one player who, to me, is one of the top 4 special players. There's only 4 special players in this draft to me. It's Travis Hunter, it's Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, and Ashton Jeanty. If one of those 4 players are on the board, you kind of got to think about it. And that's where people are kind of or getting out of hand on the Ashton Jeanty talk. They're like, no, you don't ever take a running back that high. Oh, we got Samo in the building. Sam, go ahead and get
Samo. What's happening?
Oh my goodness. Welcome in. We were just talking. We're actually talking. You came in the middle of some Ashton Jeanty talk right now. We're talking, look, we just filled all the holes on the roster. We don't normally like taking running backs high, especially in the first round. But to me, he's one of the 4 special players in the draft. Absolutely. If he's on the board, I do think you consider it. I'm not pushing. I'm not going to be like, look, we need to draft Ashton Jeanty. I'll never say we need to draft a running back in the first round. But I'm not going to argue if we take him, because to me, he is one of those 4 special players.
Absolutely. We only have probably 4 blue chip players in the draft. And we've put ourselves in position to be able to do that. I wouldn't be mad because we still feel a need at that point in time. And the dude is going to be special. I'm like he's a little muscle hamster, all 2.0 right now. Right.
A little bit. I see a lot of that in him, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that it's not a bad idea. I just read something crazy, though, that said that the Bears are looking at Nick Chubb or something. So,
Nick Chubb.
Yes, they said the Bears are in on Nick Chubb right now. So pair with DeAndre Swift, which is
I like
surprising
Nick Chubb.
to me. I love Nick Chubb.
Look, Nick Chubb is one of the best running backs I've ever graded coming out of college.
Yeah, I love Nick Chubb. I'm not balking at it at all, especially for the right price. But
how old is he? Is he over 30 or is he still under 30? I think he's under 30, but he's coming off that major knee. So he's only 29. 29, but major knee injury 2 years ago. But someone just said it in chat. Look, sign Nick Chubb for $2.5 million a year. Look, that doesn't stop you from still drafting Judkins or Caleb Johnson either. So
I want Judkins, man. I really love.
He was talking Quinshawn Judkins. Judkins is my number 2 ranked running back in the class. I think Samo had he must have had a little technical difficulties there, but I'm sure he'll be back. Is there a running back you do like, Walt? Is there a running back in this class is one that catches your eye?
I mean, there's actually a lot of backs I like. Like you said, Jeanty's special. I would say go ahead and take him if he's there. Hampton's very good. I kind of liked Cam Scatterbo, but he has that legal issue going on now at Arizona State, so I kind of want to stay away from all that. And like you said, Samo Judkins is very good. I think he's actually a little better than Henderson, personally.
Yes.
I have him as my number 2 back.
Me too now, because especially after the combine, and he showed up and showed out. The speed, the power, he has it all. The vision, and great feet, great footwork. Nose for the end zone. Like contact balance is crazy. So yeah, he's probably my number 2 back right now. Yeah.
And most people have Omarion Hampton, but no shot on Hampton. I love Omarion Hampton, but I just think Judkins, especially when you take where they're going to go in the draft, because look, Omarion's going to go first round. If I can get Judkins in round 2, late round 2 or early 3rd, I'd rather take that. I'm sorry.
Yep, absolutely. The speed too. That's the difference between those 2 guys. Is that speed. Like Omari Hampton is good, but he doesn't have that 4.4 speed,
Yeah,
uh,
4.48 speed, and that's the thing.
4.48 speed. So
Everyone
yeah,
thought he wasn't as fast as Travion Henderson, and look, he wasn't. But he
yep,
0.4, he was 0.4 seconds slower in the 40, and he's
exactly.
20 pounds heavier and
Hmm.
runs like a truck.
Yep,
Someone did ask about one of my sleeper running backs, though. I don't know if you
love
guys
him.
know about this kid, Bayshul
Yeah,
Tootin from
I love
Virginia
him
Tech.
too.
I
Yeah,
like him, Paul. Look, he's one of those guys. If we can get on day 3, sign me up. Let him learn behind Nick Chubb and Swift for a year.
yep.
I
He's
like
like Gibbs. He's like a little Gibbs, man. He's
him.
like a Gibbs type running back. He's pretty good. There's so
Speedster,
many
man.
good running backs in this draft. It's crazy. It's just like what's happening this year. That
Another
all of
name.
these guys are coming out at the same time. Like you said, I like Ali. I like Ali from
I just said it before you got, or you, I don't know if you were here. Or I was talking to Greg Gabriel before, or maybe just with Walt, but I said, look, I think we have to draft a running back, and
Mhm.
not even if it's, and I said, my point was, look, even if it's someone in the 7th round like Ollie Gordon, right? To me, Ollie
Yep.
Gordon's a 4th or 5th round talent type
He
guy that
is.
you can get in round 7. So,
Yep.
and then, so you're going to get, every time we're on the board, there's going to be running backs who probably shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
just one of our picks in the draft has to be a
Yep.
tight end. And then one pick has to be a running back. One pick
Mhm.
has to be a defensive end. The rest is wide open. Walt, I saw you giggling.
Yep.
No, I was actually going to ask you guys, what do you think about Bashard Smith? He ran a
Oh.
4.3. at the
Rashard
combine,
Smith too. Yeah, I like him a lot too.
J2K typed it right when you said it too. Look at that. Oh
He's
man.
like a people compare him to Marshall Falk a little bit, man.
Mhm.
So I heard someone compare
Ooh.
him to Marshall Falk.
I hadn't seen that. I like that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, this his
Yeah,
ability.
apparently. Oh, someone's asking, did he miss something about? Apparently, my man Samo. So I haven't seen it on Twitter yet, but apparently there's
Yeah.
rumors. Go ahead, Samo. What'd you hear?
Yeah, there's a rumor out there that the Bears are in on Nick Chubb. They're talking to Nick Chubb, trying to sign Nick Chubb right now to pair him with DeAndre Swift.
I
Be
like
at
it, man. They
Thunder
went
and
to
Oh,
Georgia
Lightning.
together. I didn't
They
even
went to
remember
Georgia
that.
together.
They were
Exactly. Yeah, the Georgia
teammates.
boys. Yeah, we're teammates. Yep, the Georgia boys.
yeah, Sam, are you talking about that sports mockery article from a couple hours ago?
Yep.
Oh no, it's sports. Oh no, I'm
No,
walking.
he quoted a Twitter article though. I saw it on there,
Yeah.
and he quoted a Twitter. It was a
Oh, I'm back.
Twitter.
I'm back.
It was something he quoted from someone on Twitter though. What
Okay,
was
okay.
it? If you look
Yeah, that's
on
what he
there, like,
usually does.
yeah, he usually uses everyone else's.
Oh, we got plenty of cap space for Chubb. He's going to cost like $2 million at max.
Yeah, that's nothing. Like, yeah, that's
30-year-old
nothing.
running back coming off a knee injury. Look, he's gonna sign a 1-year deal for like $2 million. It ain't gonna stop us from drafting a running back, and it's not gonna hurt the salary cap either. So,
Nope. Yep. You just get the experience, guys.
Well,
With a
there's your reason
nose
to
for
cut
the end
Ryan Bates,
zone.
too.
oh yeah, well, we can also cut Ryan Bates. That's one I probably see happening just because of his arthritic shoulder condition. It's like,
Yep. You could save $4 million instantly. Like, yeah, I think they're gonna do that for sure. It just makes so much sense
yeah,
to let him go and sign someone younger or sign someone cheaper and sign someone else cheaper. I'm sure we're gonna draft one. We're gonna draft a guard, probably. Man, what do you guys think going to happen in the first round? I think we still have an opportunity to change, look for a franchise left tackle if we want it. If we really wanted to do
do you
that.
think there's one there? We kind of talked about that a little bit with Greg
Yeah.
Gabriel, because my thought on that was, look, Braxton Jones is going to get paid next year. What we saw with Dan Moore today was ridiculous.
Yep.
Absolutely ridiculous. So Braxton's going to get paid. I love Braxton. I've been a big fan of him for a long time. I'm not giving that man $25 million a season. Hell
No.
no. So
No. Yeah.
to me, it's like Greg said he thinks it's Kiran Amagodge. He thinks
Yep.
he's the guy, and he'll be the left tackle by next season, and will even potentially challenge Braxton at some point this year. When I'm looking at the draft, the left tackle options are thin.
Yeah.
And when I look at 2026 draft, I see a lot of tackles. So it's a question. It's like, it's up to Ryan Poles. If one of these three guys, Will Campbell, Josh Simmons, or Kelvin Banks Jr., if they think that they're the left tackle of the future, take them
Yep.
at pick 10
Yep.
because we've set ourselves up to do it. But if they don't, then let's wait on Amagodge, maybe draft someone on day 2. You can get, if you can get an Ariante Ursay, that Holland Pierce from Rutgers, big guy, long arms,
huge guy.
Trapillo from Boston College, a couple guys out there. So you can bring in another guy. But I think Braxton Jones is probably gone in a year.
Yeah, Holland Pierce is really nice. I've watched a lot of Rutgers, but the problem with Holland Pierce is, can he handle the speed coming off the left side? He's a big dude. He weighs what, like 340? I think they weighed him at the combine.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was. I remember his wingspan was crazy.
He's like 6'8" or something crazy, man. He's
6'8", and
huge.
he had like the largest wingspan in combine history. I feel like he would be better kicked over a slot. You don't have to move as much, and you can just use those big arms and just suck everyone in.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. There's no telling really if he'll be able to handle NFL speed until he actually gets to see some NFL players, man, and to really see it. But I know he can absorb those bull rushes. I know he does a really good job at that at 6'8", 340.
Did you see him at the Shrine Bowl? I know Elijah Roberts blew him up a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
He got blown up? Oh, my goodness.
I mean, Roberts is special, and I think if we can get him in the 4th, that'd be great. I'd be all for that. But he's another guy just like
he was handling it on tape. But
someone asked about Josh Simmons' timeline. According to him, there are some workout videos of him on Twitter where he looks like he's kind of healthy. He says he's going to be 100% by his pro day and going to work out. That's later this month, a couple weeks. So that, as far as we know, we'll find out at Ohio State's pro day.
Yep. There's a video of him. What was he doing? Scooting or something? I saw a video of him. Pulling a rope or something on to the right. So we'll see. I mean, I think Josh Simmons. If we were to trade back and Josh Simmons was available in the teams, like, I wouldn't pass him. I wouldn't pass up on Josh Simmons, man. I think he's too good to pass up at that point in time. I'm with Greg on the Kiran Amagodge. I really think that he has a leg up on Braxton this year because he's not rehabbing. He has the opportunity to work on, development and things to get better for next season, where Braxton is still probably rehabbing that broken ankle and or whatever. So he's not able to get stronger to, fix his main issue, which is his lower body strength right now, and he can't do that with the ankle injury as he probably would want to. So I think Kiran may have a leg up on Braxton, man. I think the Bears would would welcome that, actually, because like you said, they don't want to have to pay Braxton all that money and then and just allow Braxton to be that swing tackle for the rest of this year and go from there.
And J2K had an update. He said Simmons had his surgery mid-October. Training camp is 9.5 months from then. He should definitely be ready by camp. But apparently he's close to being healthy now, at least able to work out at his pro day. Don't know if that's 100% or not, but let's see. His leg, there's some chat about Braxton. His legs are even weaker. We got to replace him now. He's still, hey, look, Braxton's going to get paid, man. That's why we're getting rid of him.
Yeah, he's getting paid. Someone's going to pay Braxton. Believe that. Next year, Braxton's probably going to get $30 million. It's going to be something crazy. We're all going to be like, what the heck?
Oh, man. Bro, if Braxton gets $30 million, it better not be from us. I love you, Braxton. Don't do it, Poles. Poles going to be like, I got to get my 5th rounder. Hey, that's when I'll make my first major Poles hate video, bro. Like, how the hell you going to give Braxton Jones all that money, man?
Nah, Ben Johnson ain't letting that happen.
Yeah,
I think, man, can you all just see the influence that Ben Johnson is having, and not just Ben Johnson, I will say Dennis Allen too, on Ryan Poles. He's making better decisions because of the better coaching. It just seems like,
we have more. There's more variance in our staff as well. I mean, before we had our Colts head coach and our Packers offensive coordinator, when we had Getsy, and we would bring in guys from that, but we never. Eberflus wouldn't bring in. He never brought in a really talented defensive coordinator underneath him. Now he did. Finally, last year we got Eric Washington, but you didn't see us bringing anybody that Eric Washington worked with or him having any major success. I was kind of actually disappointed by Eric Washington's time here, actually.
We all were. Yeah, I think we all were a little disappointed. It just we didn't see him get a little bit any better on the defensive line. Well, we saw some improvement on the defensive line. I won't say we didn't get any better. We saw, but it was minimal improvement on the defensive line, which we all thought we would see a big, huge jump. And just when Eberflus left, we saw that Eric Washington wasn't it. Like he couldn't hold the chill, he couldn't hold the water at that point in time. The defense was leaking all over. And, it was just not what we expected.
Great point by Rich here. We're not going to talk about Aaron Banks getting $19 million per year by the Packers. I liked Aaron Banks. I thought he was a pretty good guard. I put him on the level of guard of Jonah Jackson, right?
Yep.
Way below Joe Thuney, right? Paying that guy $19 million a year. Whoo.
That was an overpay.
That's an overpay to me. Big one.
Yep. Him, and I hate to say it, but I love Milton Williams, but $26 million?
That was a lot.
Crazy. That's crazy.
I thought $20 million was going to be too much.
I thought $20 million was, I was like, all right, well, you just see a defensive end get $40 million. It's like, all right, so the price has gone up a little bit. But
so there were reports, because I was live while this is happening, right? And there were multiple people in the chat kept saying, Milton Williams, the Panthers, Milton Williams, the Panthers. And you see Shefty tweeted about it twice. Milton Williams close to agreeing with a deal with the Panthers. Man, he had the Panthers on the phone, and he had another phone with Mike Vrabel on it, and he was like, Panthers just said they were going to give me $24 million a year.
Yep.
Hold up.
Yep.
Played
going
him,
back
bro.
and forth. Yep.
Back and forth on him, and ended up just getting absolutely paid. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, he did. And New England is doing big things. They just signed Harold Landry, and they're probably going to draft Abdul Carter.
Ooh.
So their defense is going to be stacked. I see the vision that they had there. So it's going to be nice for them, but $26 million was too much. We definitely wouldn't do that.
I don't know, Sambo. If Abdul Carter is available at 4, I'm picking up the phone and giving him a call.
Yeah, they're talking about moving. I even heard that the Patriots really want Abdul Carter really bad, man. And they were talking about moving up to probably try to get him. So we'll see what happens in this draft,
Abdul,
man.
probably, to me, he's the best player in this draft.
He is. He definitely is. If he doesn't go 1, and I mean, which quarterbacks, and you're going to see the quarterbacks go first always. So you'll see Cam Ward probably be the first pick, and then Shador.
I love Cam, bro. Cam's definitely going number 1.
Yeah, I think Cam's
number 1 or number 2, unless someone takes Abdul number 1. Cam's top 2 no matter what.
Yeah, he's the top quarterback for sure. I like him a little better than I do his arm, man. He has a much stronger arm, man, and he's zipping the ball a little bit more than Shador Sanders. Now, Shador is going to be nice, but he isn't a dual threat. He holds the ball long, man. He's going to take some hits this year. He's a pure pocket passer. Yep. And, so we'll see how it goes. He needs to be on a team that's going to be able to protect him. Like, he couldn't come to the Bears last year. Can you imagine Shador on the Bears last year? Man, behind the offensive line?
No. Bro, that would have been worse than with Justin Fields.
That would have been 100 sacks, man. So, so he has to adjust his game a little bit.
I do like Shador, but to me, he's not even a lock to go in the top 10. I think there's a chance Shador's on the board when we pick, and we could maybe hope a team wants to trade up and come get him.
Please let that happen. That's what I'm hoping too. Please let that happen.
Like, hey, who wants Shador? Come get him. Quarterback right here, baby. Because there's not a lot of players in this draft that people are going to trade up for. Now, cornerback, if the top cornerback, if Will Johnson's there, I do think he's a top 10 guy, and someone could trade up a couple picks for Will Johnson, and we're not taking a corner, so.
No. And then there are people talking about the tight end, Penn State tight end. What's his name again?
Tyler Warren. Oh yeah.
Tyler Warren. Yeah, people were talking about him. Maybe a team comes up to try to get him, but I don't know, man. All I know is we have allowed ourselves a lot of flexibility with what we've done in this offseason already. So, I want to go back so bad. If we can pick up a second round pick, man, or even a third round pick, an additional third round pick, like,
Ian
dude, that's
Cunningham let
another
us down,
quality
bro.
player. Yeah.
Ian Cunningham let us down, man. This was his year to
Yeah.
take a job and get us a pick, and he
He
messed up.
definitely did. Yep,
He
he
messed up.
definitely did.
We needed that pick this year. So
Yeah, that
now
was gonna be
trading
a
down
top
makes too much
100 pick too.
sense. Yep. J2K just said it though. On top of Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan, also Daniel Jeremiah has him as the 7th ranked player overall in the whole draft. I think he has Warren at 5 and Colston at 7. So 2 tight ends in the top 10. That's crazy. I haven't seen that ever.
Yeah, I gotta go look at Loveland some more, man.
He's more of a, to me. So Tyler Warren's he's the bigger blocker. He's the inline tight end, and then Loveland's the more athletic receiving threat tight end. Loveland's he could be special as a receiver, so I like him.
Yeah, that's what people were saying. Like he's a big receiver of some sort. And I just see him when I watched him. I seen him split out a lot too. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's a real tight end that we would use. I like the guy from LSU. I can't even think of his name. Miles. No, that's
Miles Frazier, right? No, that's
Miles Frazier is the guard. I'm thinking about the tight end from
Mason Taylor. Mason
Taylor. Yeah, I like Mason Taylor. Like he's big, got some good speed. So yeah, I like a guy like that, man, to pair up with Cole.
Oh, J2K just mentioned another tight end that a guy that's a sleeper. He's probably a first round talent.
Yeah,
could go second round. Elijah Arroyo out of Miami, another really good player. Had a killer.
Yeah, I love him. That dude is explosive, man. Now if we get him, he's a weapon. That's a weapon. That's not just a tight end. That dude is with the ball. He's like a running back, man. He's explosive. He contact balance, man. But the injury just scares me with him. And the way that he runs, he's a violent runner. So I could see him getting hurt. And he has so much speed to be such a big guy, man. He's rocked up, big guy. He's like 250, rocked up at 6'4" or something, man. And
he's a big dude, bro.
Did you have hard?
I will ask you this. Did you have a favorite signing from our free agent class? I'm gonna grab a water real quick. But I wanted to go ahead and get that question out there too, because we all answered it and we had some various answers.
No, it has to be Drew Dalman, man. It has to be Dalman, of course, because what we've endured as Bears fans at the center position over the past 5-6 years has just been tragic. So to solidify that spot with a really good player, man, a guy who's probably a top five center right now already, and then we put these bookend guards right next to him, man, which are only going to make him a lot better. Like, man, I think that was the main signing, and to do it, get it done right away, making it a priority. I think that really solidifies the offensive line, man, and that was the most important signing to me. I like the Dayo Odangbo guy. I like him. I think he's going to be a pretty good ascending player. I think he fits what Dennis Allen likes to do, but he's not a world beater. I think that we'll still draft a really good pass rusher. We need a speed guy. I don't think that he's going to be that guy. He's explosive, but he's not a speed edge guy. We do need some speed on this team. And what I like about him is his versatility too. He can kick in and play some 3-tech sometime too. So, which is really good. Grady Jarrett was a good pickup, of course. Veteran 3-tech who's just been dominant. And, like he creates a lot of pressure from the interior. Like he might not have all the sacks, but the dude creates a lot of pressure, man, and he wreaks havoc. Does a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet. So yeah, man, I think it's a good start to free agency, man. And we got started early last week with the 2 trades. So man, we're in a really good position to be a really good team this year. On paper already, we're a top 5 offensive line.
Oh,
And
this brings me to a good point. What think back to the moves we made, not just the free agent signings, but the 2 trades too. So
yep,
we got Joe Tooney, you got
yep.
Jonah Jackson, you got Drew Dahlman, you got Deo Odangbo, and you got Grady Jarrett. From 1 to 5, what are your favorites on those?
Oh, you want me to rank them? Ooh, man, I'm gonna go Tooney.
Tooney 1. I think
Tooney
Tooney's a
1.
home run.
Yeah, Tooney's a home run just because the leadership guy has all these Super Bowls. He's been with Brady. He's been with, you know, he's been with the 2 goats. He's been with the old goat and the young goat. So, and won Super Bowls with both of those guys. So to have him with Caleb Williams is going to be really good. And he'll set the tone in the offensive line room. Then I think for me it's Drew Dalman, man. Like I just said, solidifying that center position. Been a problem for a long time. Uh Man, who else? Yeah, then I'm gonna go to the D line, man. Like I like the young ascending player. I like young ascending guys. Bears have identified a guy that they like. I think that they feel like they can develop him into being something even more. He has double digit sack potential, and maybe that can happen for him this season. Pairing him up with Montez Sweat. And who else? Well, our other 2, we got Jackson and who else? Who was the 5th?
Odangbo.
I said Odangbo was 3rd.
Oh.
We got Jackson. Who else is left? Jackson and the tight end.
Oh no. Well, we got 3 offensive linemen. We got
Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
yep,
you didn't
what it
say
was.
Jarrett.
Grady
I
Jarrett.
thought you said
Yeah,
him. My bad.
I did say Grady Jarrett. So yeah, I'll make Grady Jarrett 4th, and then Jackson 5th. In that sense, we definitely needed that 3 tech pair up with Montez, not with Montez Sweat, with our young Javon Dexter, you know, help him develop a little bit more, teach him the game, give him a little bit of game, show him some of the moves that he has. He's been dominant for a long time now, man. So yeah, I think, man, we solidified the trenches on both sides of the ball, which was very important. Uh,
Oh, I love it. When we talked earlier, I think Greg Gabriel said his actual favorite was Deo. He liked Deo. Walt said that
mhm,
as well. He came around on him. My favorite's Grady Jarrett. I thought Drew Dahlman was the no-brainer answer, but I
mhm.
think Grady Jarrett's just such a leader. I'm gonna let you go first though, Walt. You got yours?
If I had to rank this, I mean, Dooney's definitely got to be number 1.
You said Tooney? Yeah.
Yeah, Tooney. Yeah. Honestly, before I keep going, it was a very interesting free agent class from Ryan Poles. You saw that he picked up basically 2 generals, 1 on each side of the ball, and then his next 2 picks were
Yep.
younger complement players to them. So you now have Tooney and then Jackson, and then he did that with Jarrett and Deo there. So
Yep.
that was nice to see. But it definitely has to be Tooney's there number 1. Um, I actually like the trade for Jonah Jackson. I think there's definite upside to that, so I have to put him at 2. Uh,
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Grady Jarrett at number 3. I can't discount his experience and what he's going to bring to that young group of defensive tackles. Mainly Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens, but I know there's a few other guys, and especially Chris Williams too, if he stays on. What did I forget?
Forgot about Chris Williams.
And then Grady Jarrett and Deo.
Yeah, Dale's definitely got to be number 4.
Okay.
Who am I missing?
Dahlman?
Dahlman, yeah.
Dalman.
I mean, Dahlman is just good. So, and I
Mhm.
think we all knew this was coming. So it wasn't a surprise and all that. So that's why I didn't rate it as high.
I was surprised just because we made those 2 trades. I didn't know if they were going to spend the money. That's a lot of money invested into the interior of the offensive line. If you think about it, what you got?
I think those 2 trades actually solidified going after the center. because you now have those two veterans on either side. You got to complete the package and get that linchpin. Because I think Greg Gabriel brought up before you got on, Samo, but like how I see it is the center is like the hinge pin on a door. You take it off, the door falls off.
Yep, definitely is. I played a little bit center myself, so yeah, I definitely understand, and I was definitely all in on it on Drew Dalman. I just based on history of what Poles has done in the past, I just didn't think it would happen. So last night I adjusted my mock and I added who did I put in there? Evan Brown. I want to say Evan Brown, simply because he had played center for Ben Johnson with the Lions a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, my last mock, I took the entire interior offensive line of the Bulldogs.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it's looking good though, man. This was definitely another Christmas day for Chicago Bears fans. Oh, where'd the Holland go? Did
I don't
Javon
know.
Holland get signed?
I saw him say Javon Holland. I was like, wait, did anything happen with it, or why are you
Oh,
saying
I
his
think
name?
he said,
Why are
is
you
he
saying
still
his name?
available?
I will say J2K is at. I'll get to that next. J2K. I'll say my 5. My 1 has got to be Joe Tooney. I think he's just it's the biggest addition. I think that's the no-brainer. He's going to be the leader of this offensive line and the best offensive lineman we've had since we went to the Super Bowl in 06. And I'm not going to pick a certain guy because I loved all of them. You can name John Tate, Olin Kreutz, Reuben Brown, or Roberto Garza even. I loved all those guys. Fred Miller, he's the guy I'd probably leave off. It's one of the other 4 were the best. Fred Miller, you got your jaw broke. I'm sorry, bro.
He held his own down there in the right
but
time.
Fred was good. Fred was
he
good.
held it down.
Joe Tooney, number 1. Okay. My number
Definitely.
2 is Grady Jarrett. And Walt made the great point. We got us pretty much a general for a leader of the offensive line, a leader for the defensive line. Both of those, that's 1 and 2. Dahlman's my number 3. I think Dahlman, you could go Jonah Jackson at 3, but to me, I just think Dahlman he's more sturdy. He's a guy who fixes the center position. And then 4, I'm going to have Jonah Jackson because I like him too. I think Jonah Jackson, he's a wild card right now. I think if we fast forward a year, there's definitely a chance where we're cutting Jonah Jackson next year and saving $15 million. There's also a chance that Jonah Jackson has a great year this year, helps solidify our offensive line. And we're talking about maybe extending Jonah Jackson next year for a couple of years. But right now it's 50-50. So I think we definitely should be looking to draft a guard. But if we end up drafting someone like Donovan Jackson in round 2 from Ohio State, right? Say we get a stud guard like that and Jonah Jackson struggles, he could be cut next year and we're moving on with Donovan Jackson. So he's number 4 and he's a guy who he could have a good career here. He could be gone next year, but he's a guy who's talented and he's going to fill that role so we don't have to start out with a rookie. And I have high hopes for him. And then 5's Deo. I think he's a good player. I'm just not as high on him as the other guys. Mostly, dude, I haven't watched as much tape on him. I'm not as familiar with the player. He also went to Vanderbilt, not a college that a lot of us watch a ton of tape on, as Vandy doesn't usually have a ton of college or NFL prospects, but he has the length. He was top 10 in QB hits this year. He's only 25 years old. There's actually people in this draft that are older than Deo who has 4 years of experience in the NFL. So I do like him. And that's the thing. He's my 5th on my list and I still like the move. So killing this free agency period. And when you compare it to other years of Ryan Poles' free agency, he's destroying them because he hasn't really spent like this in free agency. A few calculated moves like Tremaine Edmonds he spent on, but not a ton of money he spent in free agency.
Nope.
So I love it. But let's get to J2K's question though, unless you had some. What do you guys think about wide receiver? What do you think we're gonna do at wide receiver here?
Go ahead, Walt.
Yeah, I feel if we end up doing a trade back, there's a lot of options at wide receiver. I know an interesting one, but we're not going to be in place to get him is Matthew Golden.
From
Texas.
I think he's going to go too high. He ran himself into the first round.
That's what I'm saying. We're not going to be in a position to, but I like him. You can probably get his running mate, Isaiah Bond.
Love him too. I like him a lot too.
That is
He
an
pissed
option if
me
you wanna
off
go
at the
that way.
combine. Look, I liked Isaiah Bond, but he pissed me off. Don't tell everybody you're gonna run a
I
4.20
know.
and then run a
then
4.402.
4-4.
Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on
Maybe
now.
he just had a bad day.
Yeah. I do
And
like
it's
Jo.
always the pro day. He can make up for
Mhm.
AD
it.
Rock said the name. That's my name right there. That's my sleeper is Xavier
Xavier.
Restrepo.
Yeah,
I
he's a
don't
good
even
one.
take him in mock drafts because he doesn't go where I think he's going to go in the draft. I think he's going to be a 3rd round pick. If he's there in the 3rd round, I'd probably take him.
Yeah, I really want a Lambert Smith from Auburn. So
Ooh.
that's another speed guy. He's not really a slot. He's more just an outside straight line burner, but we could use that.
Yeah, the
I
guy I
like
love.
Kyle Williams too. That's another. Pat Bryant though. I don't know. You guys watch Illini football. Pat Bryant's a guy. I love him, man. He said in his combine interview, he used the same phrase Ben Johnson did. He said, "No block, no rock." He loves to block. So
Yeah.
hey, watch out for Pat Bryant.
Yep. I like Pat Bryant a lot too. I like him a lot. But he's like more of an X receiver to me.
Yeah.
As far as the slot goes, man, I think I really like Nick Nash a lot, man. I think he is a clone of Amon-Ra St. Brown already. They're the same size. I think he's probably a little bit more developed than Amon-Ra was when he came out of college. And he's still young and learning the position, having converted over from from quarterback to wide receiver. I can see him being used on a lot of gadget plays by our boy Ben, tossing it out to him and allowing him to, double pass or whatever, stuff like that. And like I said, he reminds me so much of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like his route running is really good. Uh, he especially against zone coverage, man. He finds holes in zones so well. You could tell that he was an ex-quarterback because he's reading it right away and he knows exactly where to be and where to stop. It seems like, and which is why he was a triple crown guy this year. Led the NCAA in catches, touchdowns, and yards. And this is again only his 2nd year playing wide receiver. So the one knock on him, everyone is saying, is he ran a 4.57 at the combine. But you know who else ran the 4.57 at the combine?
Was it Amon
Puka
Rock?
Nakua.
Oh, Puka.
Puka Nakua ran a 4.57 at the combine, and Puka came and he broke the rookie record for wide receiver, doing the same thing, just being a savvy wide receiver. You don't have to have blazing speed. Everybody's not going to have blazing speed on the team. It's just that simple, man. But you got to be a savvy guy in the mind of a Keenan Allen. He could be the next Keenan Allen type of wide receiver. And I do think that when he runs in his pro day, he may, you know, come down to a 4.51 or something, 4.52 or something like that. Because I think he plays a lot faster than 4.57 when you watch him on tape. So yeah, that's my guy. And then the other guy I really like is from Colorado. What is it?
Jimmy Horn Jr.?
Jaquante.
Oh, okay.
I love Doran. I love Doran too. Jim Doran Jr. too. But I was thinking about, man, we need a returner. And there's a
Oh,
guy
yeah.
for Colorado, which is Gigante.
I forget his name.
Jaquante,
I
I
know
can't
who you're
even think
talking
of his
about.
name right now. Yeah, look it up for me. I can't think
Webster.
of his name, but the guy is
Webster.
man, Webster. Yeah, the guy is a burner, man. The guy is a burner. He's that burner that we're missing. We need a speedy receiver and a kick returner. That guy is electric with the ball in his hands, man. And I would really love to have something like that. And then we can get him later in like the 5th or 6th round, probably too. So
Yeah,
those are the
I
two
think it's
guys
what
that I would like to draft.
it's Lejonte Wester, right?
Yeah, Jamonte Webster. J2K we know J2K had our back out there, man.
Yep, I knew somebody had to get. I know J2K knows.
Yeah. I had to
But yeah,
update
those are
the
two
poll
guys I like.
because everybody was voting Joe Tooney. So I did a new poll for the chat. Someone said they liked the polls because I had to ask who do you guys like after Joe Tooney because everybody was voting Joe Tooney. So this for the chat. You guys now vote in the chat and let me know who you like other than Joe Tooney out of the other 4 because we clear Joe Tooney's the runaway winner. We all said that as well. So big day for Joe Tooney. I think he's a monster, man. I kind of want to get his jersey already, man. I haven't had an offensive lineman jersey in a while.
This guy's already in the Hall of Fame, man. When he retires, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't see how he couldn't be. He has 4 Super Bowls with 2 different quarterbacks. And if we win to Super Bowl with the Bears, man,
I got to knock on wood, but
that's
I
just
gotta say, I was thinking if this guy, imagine if he wins Super Bowls with Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Caleb. Stop it! I gotta.
that'll be
mm,
crazy,
we gotta
man.
stop it.
Yep.
Ooh, DeMarcus Walker 2.0 is what they're calling Deo. Hey,
Pretty
DeMarcus
much.
Walker wasn't awful, so it wasn't on a
Right.
better defensive line. That might not be bad. I don't
Mhm.
gotta say. I'm not a DeMarcus Walker hater. He didn't get after quarterbacks like Deo
No.
does. Deo gets more pressures. That's what we need is guys to get after quarterback. And
Yeah.
what Grady Jarrett is doing is upgrading our entire defensive line. Grady's the key, man. I think
Yep.
nobody's talking about Grady, but I got to talk about him for a minute. I think he's one of the most underrated players in football. Outside of Aaron Donald, if you look at the NFL over the last 5 to 8 years, he's been one of the top 3 defensive tackles. And
Yep.
he's done it consistently on an Atlanta team that hasn't had a lot of talent elsewhere on that defensive line. He's always getting double teams. He's always doing the dirty work. Other than when he tore his ACL in 2023, he hadn't missed a single game in 5 years. He's a monster. I love this guy. He's a leader, and I can't believe we got him. I think Drew Dahlman we expected.
Mhm.
To me, the move of Grady Jarrett is just as big as Tooney. It's right there. It's like Joe
Yep.
Tooney move is 1A. This is 1B because it does the same thing for our defensive line that Joe Tooney does for our offensive line. Whew.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it definitely brought leadership that was missing from the side of the ball on that defensive line. And like you said, he's disruptive, man. And that's the word you want to use when you talk about Grady Jarrett. He's disruptive. Like he might not get to the ball, he might not get the sack, but he's going to cause all type of pressure. He's going to move the quarterback off of his mark almost every time when he rushes the passer. He splits double teams extremely well. He's small. He's not even the dude's 6 feet tall. So and he's just like he's rocked up too. So he's like
And
300 pounds,
athletic.
but he's like really cut up a little bit. Huge arms. The dude is a really good player, man. And like you said, he's going to elevate the play. Uh, Montez Sweat next to him, and the and
Trevon
Daniel on
Dexter
the
as
other
well, man.
end, and yeah, and then Billings in the mid Billings. I think this is going to be a really good, solid defensive line. Now we're going to still add to it a nice rotation, man. We haven't had anybody like Grady Jarrett since Akeem Hicks, man, a
Yeah,
guy
I
who
said
was
that.
just
Yeah.
going to be consistently bringing the pressure, and freeing up other guys, and that's what we really needed on this defensive line for it to take off.
Yep. Yeah, and some people were saying that Grady's play has dropped off. J2K made a great point. They cut him to save 16 million. And
Mhm.
anyone who says, okay, his sack numbers weren't up last year, let's think about it realistically, right? He tore his ACL in 2023. The fact that a defensive tackle is even playing in 2024 after tearing an
Mhm.
ACL mid-season, we've had guys do that. Well, remember Eddie Goldman?
Yep.
He
Yep.
ain't ready. So I mean, he came back, he played 17 games. He still got after the quarterback. He still took on double teams. Now this year he's going to be 100% and ready to wreak havoc. So I don't think his play's fallen off. I think he's got a good 2 to 3 years left in him and at solid Pro Bowl type level on a defensive
Yep.
line like this because Atlanta didn't have much talent on the D line. He
It
wasn't.
didn't.
They're game planning for Jarrett. Like they're running away from him. They're double teaming him. They're doing all this stuff. Now we got Trevon Dexter. You got Grady Jarrett. You got Montez Sweat. You got our first or second round pick. You got Doo. You got Andrew Billings. You got some
Yep.
guys on this D line now. So
Yep. Got some dogs. You got a few dogs, man. They're going and we got good coaching. Good coaching now too. We got a good scheme. We're gonna have a good defensive scheme. So man, it's just gonna be so much better this year, man. That's what I'm excited about. Is that not only are we getting good players, we know that these good players are gonna be well coached, and with competence. These guys are going to be developed well. So that's what I'm excited about, man. We're finally going to start developing younger players, man. So whoever we bring in here as rookies, I expect for them to have good seasons as well. Hey, we didn't even talk about you missed one. The rookie from last year, Booker, Austin Booker. is
Austin Booker as
also,
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
Austin Booker is also going to be taking off this year. We
Yeah.
haven't even talked about him a lot. Like Austin Booker, he played really well against the pass last year. He needs to add some weight to, be able to anchor against the run. But as far as pass rushing went last year on pass rushing downs, he played extremely well. He brought pressure and he
Got some moves.
crashed his side. The dude has a lot of moves, man, and counter moves. That's what's impressive about him. He doesn't just have moves. He knows how to counter extremely well, and it's like natural for him, like stringing together his moves. So I'm excited to see what he becomes this next year too.
Finally, well coached. Well said, Sam. I mean, that's been the biggest problem is you can bring in talent all you want, but if the coaches aren't getting the most out of the talent, that's why you're not winning games. And it's a point I made multiple times, but this is a team where we watched the games last year. We have eyeballs, and we know that this team is more talented than the record they had on the field because we watched the coach literally give football games away, go home with timeouts in his pocket, and it was just malpractice, honestly. I mean, worst thing I've ever seen.
Yep. Even the position coaches are better this year, man. That's what I'm excited about too, because that's where it all starts with the position coaches, man. Position coaches have to get the players ready to play, and make the players better on a weekly basis, man, and have them ready, prepared for what they're going to see on a weekly basis, man. So we finally have some competent coaches, man, on the defensive line, the offensive line. Man, I'm excited to see. You know what I'm excited to see in training camp? I hate that this year is not going to be a hard knocks year because can you imagine Al Harris and what's the wide receiver coaches get
Antoine
Antoine
Randall.
Randall? They're going to have
how
those guys
lame,
going
bro,
at
and
it.
we've seen it. You know how lame our training camp practices have been with Eberflus? Like,
Yep.
one, there's no personality from our head coach. He walks
No.
around like a lame duck out there. But second, fans would go to training camp, and Eberflus would have they asses practice on the
On the
field,
other side of the field.
on the
Yeah.
other side of the thing where there's no fans at. Like,
Like,
watch what happens when we have a competent coaching staff in here. Watch, they're going to be
Exactly.
practicing right in front of us now. I already see that coming. So that's something to watch out for.
So I like Styles' comment regarding Kyler Gordon. I think under Dennis Allen, he could definitely eclipse 6 sacks, if not more, this year.
Oh yeah, I think I started that one. Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he's really good
Breakout
at that. He's
player.
a really good blitzer too, man. Really
That's
good.
what I mean.
Kyler Gordon's going to take off. They better sign Kyler Gordon before the season starts. I know that. If they don't, the price is just going to go.
Today. Did you see what Jordan Lewis got?
Nah, what'd he get?
Oh,
100
man.
million, right?
What was it?
He got 100 million, right? At least, or no, was that JC Horn?
I thought he got like
Horn. I saw JC
70,
Horn.
I thought he got like 72 million, I think. Let me see if I can get it.
Yeah, they better sign Kyler right now. I thought it was going to cost about 75 million.
Too much, man. Like, let's see what he got. He got 30 million. Wait a minute. 30 million a season? No, hold on. That's not it.
I was about to say.
Oh, he got 3-year 30 million. Okay.
He's not a Kyler Gordon though either. So
no, but he's good though.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. I
But
don't know, man.
That means we're paying more than 10 million a season for Kyler, though. I'm telling you
yeah.
that right now.
Yeah, it's going to be over. I think it might be over 15. To be honest, it probably be like 16. 16.
Look, we're
17.
not even close to capped out. I gotta tell you guys that. Look, we might be getting close to out of cap space right now, but we haven't used any of our flexibility. We haven't restructured any contracts.
Yep.
We haven't. We're gonna re-sign Joe Tooney. That's happening, and I imagine Joe Tooney's one where he's actually he might put some of the money back to give us a little bit more cap space in that one. We can also do some restructures. We can cut Ryan Bates. There's some more moves that are going to happen. So
absolutely,
we don't have to be cap compliant. We could sign 4 more guys and go to negative 60 million in cap space as long as we're under the cap by the time we get to the regular season or whatever.
And they can do that easy. They can get 60 million easy too.
Yep.
They can release some guys and do some things. Like one guy. So I don't know. This is a bold prediction I already made on Twitter, so I'm gonna say it again here. But I'm not all sold on bringing back Our safety, man.
Kevin Byard.
Kevin Byard, yeah. I
Okay.
wouldn't. I mean, that's what
And
that's
save
like
7
eight and a
million.
half, 7 million. Yes, 8.5 million he's making this year. You save 7 million if you release him. And man, I think we can upgrade at that position for
Yeah.
7 million.
To me, I was thinking that one's all that's all Dennis Allen. Like, look, if Dennis
Mm-hmm.
Allen says that guy's a leader, I think he's going to be a good leader on this defense. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
unsure about Brisker's injury history. I want to keep him, then that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But look, if we got rid of Byard and went all in on a safety like Javon Holland, and all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden you have Javon Holland and Jaquan Brisker as your safeties, oh,
You going
you know,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
I'm with it on that, mate. And that's a move where, hey, maybe they're waiting and they're seeing what the safety market's like, and if there's someone out there they like better than Kevin Byard, you
Mm-hmm.
sign him, and then you can cut
You
Byard,
can release him. Yep, and
or
save that money.
like
Yep.
J2K said, Nick Imanowari is a beast.
Beast. That's
Beast.
another player we could draft. We can move down and draft, or man,
I would also listen if we drafted Imanowari, I would also want to keep Kevin Byard. As much, he's a guy who I would say, look, I don't want him to come in and be our starting free safety from day one. He's a guy who could mix in nickel packages and move all over the defense. Let him learn for a year underneath Kevin Byard, then he would take over a free safety next year. I do like Shiloh Sanders. I'll say that.
Yep. And you can get Shiloh later too in the draft, probably. But Nick Amorari, that's a weapon on defense, man. That dude, that's a guy that you can move around like what's the guy that the Ravens have, the safety?
Kyle Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton, how they move him around. I think you could do some of the same things with Amorari, man.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's exactly
a
who I
special
compare
dude.
him
He
to.
has the size, speed, cover. He can cover well. And that's what scares me about Kevin Byard, man. Dennis Allen likes his safeties to be able to cover a lot too. So, and I don't know. I don't know if Kevin Byard has lost a step, lost a step a little bit because they tried to get him to do the same thing in Philly and it didn't work out for him. That's when he struggled, and so that's why, him being in that zone defense, it was a little bit easier for him because he knew where to be. He could see everything. But when he's in that man coverage, man, it's a little bit harder for him. He doesn't have the wheels like he used to have. So that's what just concerns me a little bit about Kevin Byard.
Yep. I've seen a couple people saying we're taking safety in round 2. Xavier Watts is another one. J2K mentioned Billy Bowman. I like Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State. There are a lot of good tackles or safeties in this year. I would say, to me, safety is a class I haven't studied as much or watched as much tape on, strictly because, one, it's not one of our top needs, and two, it is a pain in the ass to watch safeties on tape. I don't know how many people have watched film of safeties, but it's rough. Watching safety tape is tough. It's tough.
All you see is them running to a spot a lot of times. Or you're like, hold on. All right. And you got to watch a lot of tape to see them actually making plays.
And it depends. And they could be playing in a scheme that's nothing like what you're projecting them to in the NFL as well.
That's true too. Yep.
Oh, look at that. 2 people mentioned Sebastian Castro at the same time right there. J2K and Brad Williamson. It's another one. I like Iowa boys.
I haven't seen Sebastian Castro. I'm gonna check him out.
Good point, Buck. Oh man, yeah. This tight end class is special though too. To me, I think we've just set this franchise up to win. We're in win now mode now. We now have expectations to win, whereas before we were still rebuilding, and it's like, hey, we hope we win, but nobody was going into the season like this should be a playoff team. Now I'm saying it. This should be a playoff team. Before we even get to the draft where we can pick 3 impact players in the top 50, we already have the roster that's set up to be the foundation is here for a playoff team. So Poles needs to kill this draft.
And I think he will, man, because I think he has direction that he was lacking in years past.
100%. How are you feeling, Walt?
Yeah, man, I'm ready to win. That's all I can
He
say.
said, "I'm ready to win."
There's no other option at this point. Like I said, it's win or go home, or lose your job in this case.
I'll ask you guys this. Oh yeah, I actually didn't mention this at all yet, but Justin Fields is a Jet. For anybody in the chat who didn't miss it, chat was talking about it earlier, but there was so much other stuff going around. I wasn't really worried about Justin Fields, but I will mention it. Justin Fields to the Jets. It's funny because any of you guys are on Twitter. I saw all the Bears fans who like followed Justin Fields to Pittsburgh, and they've been tweeting about him every day since. They were tweeting all day today about the Steelers went and got DK Metcalf for Justin. I was like, Justin don't even want to go back there. What are you guys talking about? Oh man, that was great. But I like him in New York. He's back with Garrett Wilson. He's got Breece Hall as a running back, but the Jets suck though. I don't know what's going to happen there.
And look, Aaron Glenn believes in him. That's what I like about it, man. Aaron Glenn believes in him. He pounded the table for him and wanted him there because what did we do the past couple years when we had Justin? Remember, we were on their ass both games. We almost beat him the first game, and
That's
then
right.
the second game we did beat him. So Aaron Glenn knows Justin Wells, and he knows what a weapon Justin can be and how hard it is to defend Justin Fields, and that he just was given he wasn't given a fair shot here, man. He wasn't protected well. He didn't have the weapons. So you put those things around him, man. Like you say, he has Garrett Wilson, who he's familiar with. That's his boy from Ohio State. I'm hoping that they trade Chris Olave up over there with him too.
You're trying to get the whole Ohio State boys back.
The whole Ohio State.
They could take Emeka Egbuka too. I mean,
Emeka Egbuka, yeah, they could take him in the draft this year. So, hey, it could be.
Aaron Glenn is
really nice reunion.
He was a top 5. I said out of all the defensive coaches this year, Aaron Glenn was my favorite. I wanted an offensive coach, but I was like, if we hire a defensive one, Aaron Glenn's my top choice. So I love it. I think Justin's going to do well up there. I think it's a better move than him going to Pittsburgh. I think this is good for Justin's career. Good luck up there, Justin.
Good luck to you, bro.
Always root for you. Unless you play the Bears, then I'm going to hope you get your ass beat, boy.
Yeah, we saying you getting smashed that week. I can't root for you any game.
Sorry, boy.
Yep.
For real. But I thought it was a decent move. 2 years, $40 million. They're giving him $20 million a season. So Justin at least came out on top of it as far as the money is concerned.
Yeah, there's a video of him in Dubai right now, man.
I saw that him
celebrating. Yeah, I'm happy for him, man. Like I said, he's happy. It's well deserved. Yeah, he deserves to be happy, man. Like I said, I don't feel like Justin got a fair shot here in Chicago. Didn't get a fair shot there in Pittsburgh, so now he's finally going to get a chance to see what he can do.
That's good. I think it's good for him. I honestly have said it all along. I think you can win with Justin Fields. You have to build the offense around him, though, and that's something that after we traded him, it's something you never know if a guy's going to get a second chance because that's how the NFL is, and he still might not have a second chance. We know how remember the Mike Glennon contract. We've seen other quarterbacks sign big contracts, and then teams still draft a QB. So if the Jets are still a team that could draft, if they end up drafting Shedeur, it's not a great situation for Justin. But if they end up sticking with him and trying to build around him for at least 1 or 2 years, I think it's gonna be good news for him. I did mention Mike Glennon. I did. The Mike Glennon throwback.
Can't believe we had Mike Glennon.
The neck, man. I call him the neck, bro. His neck was bigger in my head.
Giraffe neck.
Yep.
Giraffe neck ass Mike Glennon.
The man. Hey, Phil's at least gonna have some weapons there. Breece Hall to me is a top 5 running back. I love Breece Hall, man.
Before he got hurt, man, he was tearing the league up.
And now he's going to be over a full year removed from that. So,
So, I think he's a really good running back. I think they have another good backup running back in the Banacanda, too, still on their roster. And someone else. So, they got a pretty good team. And their defense is solid, too. And
I got to respond to this one. I didn't see that the Vikings got Ryan Kelly. 2 years, $18 million.
Yeah, that came through while Greg was on.
Ryan Kelly's past his prime.
Look, Ryan Kelly he's had more injuries than Drew Dahlman, who's had 1. And he's also, I think, 6 or 7 years older.
Yep.
Ryan Kelly's a guy. Look, if we sign Ryan Kelly, we're still drafting a center round 2, no matter what. Drew Dahlman gives us flex. We don't have to draft a center round 2 now. We could still draft one if we want, or we can draft one in round 5
next
to
year.
develop.
We can wait till next year. We don't have to draft one.
We
can wait till next year.
Now Ricky Stromberg's fine. Yeah, we don't even need to draft a center. So that's not a comp for me. Ryan Kelly's a guy who's way past his prime, and he's a guy who could be a Band-Aid, but he's also a guy, we know what it's like when you sign those 34 to 35-year-old Band-Aid options who are coming off injuries. They're not the same player they were before, and they're a shell of their former self. So I honestly think we might destroy Ryan Kelly in Minnesota. I'm happy they signed him. Let's see what he's got against Grady Jarrett.
Grady gonna tear his ass up.
Grady Jarrett and Jervon Dexter going against that man.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
So I'm happy with that one. I would have never taken Kelly over Dahlman in a million years. Now, if we would have missed out on Dahlman and signed Kelly, at least we still upgraded the center position, right? But we would have still needed to draft someone. Right now, we don't need to draft a center. So I'm happy with what happened. Oh, let's see. Band-Aid.
Looks like we signed a better offensive lineman, man, compared to our division rivals. You look at those contracts, Brian Poles make the better moves.
Yeah, making the trades. Way better than the free agent contracts that have happened on free agency.
He got better players for less money. So
Joe Tooney is the huge win. That's better than anybody that anyone in the NFC North added. And I think when I'm looking around at the moves that have made in the NFC North, the Bears moves are looking way better than anything I've seen in the NFC North so far. Now, if the Vikings do get Jonathan Allen, that would be a big move. But we've had 3 moves that are bigger than any move. Let me knock on wood, because I haven't seen any big moves from any of those teams yet that I think are huge wins. So right now we're on the up and up.
Who did the Lions sign? DJ Reed or something?
Yeah, they got DJ. They got a corner. They need cornerback, but
they needed a corner because they lost
cornerbacks.
They lost Carlton. All right, so
they lost Carlton Davis. That's like you lose one, you get one.
Get one. Yep.
Which one's better? Can either one of them guard DJ Moore or Rome Odunze? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
That's how I feel about it. So it's like, hey, they lost a guy who can't guard DJ or Rome. They got a guy who can't guard DJ or Rome. It's just just check that off as a loss. You know what I mean?
Right. And they also released
Zadarius Smith.
Zadarius Smith. Yep, Zadarius Smith. I was about to say Preston Smith. Yeah.
Someone says it. He hasn't been signed yet. Another pass rusher on the market though out there.
Yep.
We could still sign another pass rusher too. I think that's something to watch out for as well.
Yep. Especially for the low too, because as the days go by, the price goes down. The price goes down. So that's the beauty of it.
Man,
you know what I'd really love to see, and I don't think it's going to happen, is with Max Crosby getting his bag, going after Tyree Wilson as a possible trade candidate. He's not going to cost you that much.
I know they're down on him there.
Exactly.
Yep.
Ooh.
He's another guy with a lot of upside. I don't know what happened with him, man, because I thought he was going to be a pretty damn good player, especially next to Max Crosby.
He needed development. I think one of the things, they moved him to 3-tech, and I think that's something you could do on a good D line. But
I didn't know that.
He's an edge rusher, man. He's
an edge rusher. I didn't know they moved him to 3-tech. That's crazy.
They've moved him around a little. They might have moved him back. I didn't watch much last year, but his rookie year, they had him at 3-tech a ton. What about Cooper Kupp? Now, this is a guy, look, I've already I think Keenan Allen doesn't really want to come back, and he's probably going to want too much money. If Cooper Kupp, and this is the thing that we don't know, because this is the one thing that matters. If Cooper Kupp wants to come here and is willing to come here at a discount, 1,000% sign me up. But I'm not getting in a bidding war over Cooper Kupp, no. Yeah. But if he wants to come here at a discount, and now that that's actually a possibility, and before, if anyone said that, they were lying. But now that we've heard it, Joe Tooney wanted to come here. Drew Dahlman took less money to come here. Anyone who missed that earlier, Drew Dahlman was offered more money to go play for the Patriots. And think about this. Imagine that 10 years ago. Would any player in the world chose the Bears over the Patriots for less money? No.
No way.
Drew Dahlman said, nah, I want to play with Caleb Williams. I want to play with Ben Johnson. And I want to play next to Joe Tooney. So it's a new era. So listen, if Cooper Kupp is sitting there and he's like, I honestly believe the Bears are a team that I could really make a difference for, and he wants to come here at a discount, give it to me, baby. Give it to me.
Yeah, I'll take him all day.
One of the best slot receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, I can
100%.
imagine.
Yep.
Imagine him, man. Him and Caleb hooking up all day. Third down king. Woo.
I'm ready for it,
First
guys.
down. First down. First down.
Sign me up. But it's time, guys. We have playoff expectations now. I think we're going to wrap it up. We've been live 2 hours. Samo, I so appreciate you joining me, man. Walt, you're the man. You guys want to tell them where to find you at on Twitter, wherever? Just give yourself a shout out. And I appreciate you guys joining for real.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Samo?
Yeah, thanks for the invite, man. Shout out to all you Bears fans out there. You know, everyone is as happy as we are. You can find me at Big Samo 80 on X or Twitter, whatever you prefer to call it. And yeah, man, we'll do this again one day soon, hopefully.
Heck yeah. Heck, we need to for sure. 100%. Walt, go ahead, my man.
Yeah, man. No, it was great. You know, and thanks for having me out here today, Swift. You know, those two shows are really good. If you're looking for me, it's the Bear Review on both X and YouTube. You got to put the underscores in, or you won't find me on YouTube. Don't know why that is, but whatever.
You see him, the _bear_ review, baby. But I appreciate you guys all. It is huge day one of free agency. 3 big time signings. We signed Drew Dahlman. Now I forgot the names. Doo and Grady Jarrett. Big day for the Chicago Bears. Thanks to everybody who tuned into the chat. And I'll probably be back tomorrow. And we definitely got to chop it up again, guys. Hit me up when you want to chat, and we'll get a show scheduled for sure.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Bear down, everybody.